Well, I knew that we had to have dog food. So I was developing those products from the beginning. I actually formulated all of our three dog food SKUs out of the gate. Again, some of that experience I had learned um, after leaving the corporate world. That had been one of the things that I really wanted to learn. I was able to formulate those, and I knew I wanted to start with that. I figured we would also add some treats, so I kind of started to go down that path. But what's really interesting is that we actually kind of let the retailers and the opportunities drive our products because it was so expensive. Very quickly, I learned pet food is not like a lot of other industries where you can just run a small production and test it and see if it sells. I knew out of the gate I was going to have to run over 100,000 pounds of dog food as a smallest production size.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was in my face pretty quickly that, like, okay, if we're doing this because this is not a test. Yeah. So the food was first, treats, but really where the opportunity came is I had already made a decision we were going to go to Expo West, and we exhibited at Expo West in March of, it's always a blur when I say this out loud, March of 2022. And I said, we're going to go do this. And we actually didn't even have real product yet. So that's always my favorite part of the story.
So, did you go to Expo West? I'm imagining because you said how much your MOQ had to be with a goal of getting into retail stores.
Yeah, I knew that given the MOQ requirements within pet, specifically in my space, I was going to have to get a retailer. It was not an option, right? Like for me to go out and try to build a D2C brand on, bootstrapped, not having multi-million dollar raises on an idea and all the things that other brands and founders sometimes can do. I knew I needed a retailer. So I knew Expo West was the show of all shows and got a booth in the, North Hall and yeah, faked it. I had mock-ups of packaging made and we built our booth here in Phoenix and then hand carried and built it, in the 10 by 10. And people thought we were already an established brand and we definitely were not.
So, you didn't pass out samples or anything like that even at that point.
No, so I mean, we made mock-ups of all of our packaging, and so really, yeah, it was mocked up packaging with a big board, and I realized I was going to have to, get some attention somehow. So we put on roller skates. We still wear them to this day at the trade shows. We are kind of known as the roller skating girls. Tried to, look like we were having fun and engage with people. And, obviously my packaging is very bright, disruptive, very different
Hmm.
than traditional pet. And so, you would see people just kind of walk and stop because it was just so different, than what they had seen. And so there was just a lot of, what is this? What is that? And so I think the one thing I have gotten right from the beginning was always kind of being buzzy and trying to get attention in scrappy ways, just because I have to stand out in a very expensive, industry.
Yeah. So what was your pitch? What was it that drove people, because first is yes, it's oh the packaging's cool. Like what is it? It draws you into the booth. What did you feel was the conversation that really got people interested?
Really in the better for you space. I mean, there were options in pet, but I would say my biggest thing to this day, it's changing now, but there wasn't a lot of what I was seeing in human wellness, better for you, CPG, beauty, even. I wasn't seeing that in pet, right? And so my sort of initial pitch was like, we're bringing human wellness, human ingredients, better for you, and a gut focus to pet because you're doing it yourself. So you should be doing it for your pet. And it resonated really well. We leaned really heavily in the beginning on kind of our superfood inclusions because it was very buzzy at the time, clean decks and ingredients. But then quickly we leaned even harder into our gut focus with things like probiotics. Now we have colostrum, collagen, a lot
Mm.
of human grade ingredients. But yeah, in the beginning, it was really kind of a better for you, emerging type trendy, very disruptive brand. And immediately it stood out so much. The pet buyers were really interested.
So did you get a retailer from that show?
I did. Yes. Yes. So Expo West, March of 2022, got the opportunity to pitch to Sprouts and was awarded three SKUs on the spot. And they were three
On the
SKUs that I
spot
didn't
at the expo?
yes. And they were three sizes, mind you, that I didn't even have. And I said, yes, we can do that. And this was March and we launched into Sprouts, I think in October of that year. So it's about 7 months later, we launched our treats nationwide into Sprouts.
Wow. That's amazing. So that was definitely a beneficial show to go to even without product.
100%, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, trade shows are what you make them. I mean, I'm always just surprised how many people go to trade shows and sit in a chair and don't engage. We have a no chair rule in our booth. Like, you don't need a chair in your trade booth. Like, you're there to work, you're there to talk to people. But yeah, I mean, I think I just saw the opportunity and I knew, like, again, I had those MOQs hanging over me, right? So I knew what our MOQs were going to be on the food and the treat side, and I knew I had to get a customer or I couldn't even sustain it. I was crazy. I still went forward and ran production. Just, hey, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get retailers on the food side. But when I ran my first production for food, I did not have any retailers confirmed.
Also, it was kind of in the works of being manufactured when you were at the show.
Yes. Yes.
So it was,
Yeah.
yes.
I've taken some gambles. I'm not a gambler. I never have been, but over the last 3 years, I've taken some really big gambles, and most of them thus far have paid off. But wow, like, talk about taking a leap. Like,
Yeah.
okay, hopefully this works. So
Yeah, and it has. So